MotoAmerica Superbikes at Road America, our third for 2023 from beautiful Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and the famed Road America circuit. On deck is Mission King of the Baggers, race number 1. Today is outstanding weather, and we cannot wait to get this race going. Hi, everyone. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, Mission King of the Baggers, we are here in Wisconsin. It is Harley-Davidson's backyard.
Yeah, Kyle Wyman comes in here on a 3-race winning streak, Greg, but the Indian team are ready to go. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Kyle and the other Harley-Davidsons to perform well here, but we've talked about this being the biggest rivalry in our paddock between Harley-Davidson and Indian Motorcycles, and it's going to spark off here shortly.
And you mentioned, of course, the championship leader, Kyle Wyman. In the last 4 races, he's won those 3. Jason, let's take a look at some of the things that Kyle's been able to do.
Yeah, this is race 2 at Daytona, where he was able to bounce back from a day 1 DNF, Greg, and win that race and get his title campaign started. We moved on to Road Atlanta, where it was just a fairly dominant weekend for Kyle Wyman on the 33. You could see he had a big lead on these guys. He was able to pull a nice stand-up wheelie. This was race 2, and it was more of the same for Kyle. He was able to break the draft early in Atlanta, and he'll be trying to do that again today. I don't think it's going to be as easy for him, and there's going to, like I said, there's going to be a lot of pressure on this young man to try to win for Harley-Davidson here just up the road from the factory.
It's not easy to win 3 in a row in this class, but he has done it so far. But now it's time to welcome in the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, who has more.
Tyler O'Hara is still looking to get the first victory of the season, and we're here at Road America in Harley's backyard. Is that something that maybe puts a little bit more pressure on you, or does that motivate you?
You know, all the pressure's on them this weekend. It's their home track, and they've really, you know, kind of taken it to us the last couple years, and I'm highly motivated. You know, this is such a great opportunity for the Indian factory team, and SNS Cycles being kind of their home race as well. I've been training really hard and doing my homework, studying, and the Indian Challenger is running awesome. It's the best the bike's ever been, and just super grateful for the opportunity.
Best of luck, Tyler. Thank you.
Without question, you just love the motivation of Tyler O'Hara. Jason, Road America, fresh pavement, beautiful racing circuit, one of the best in the world.
Well, this track just got a lot better, Greg, with this new pavement. And these Harleys and Indians are going to be racing down into turn 1. Then the big draft and a lot of passing into 5. The first lap should be wild down there. Then you have a string of S's and into the carousel there, turns 9 and 10, into that hard chicane area, back down into Canada Corner. Then you come back up a hill and do a fast blind left-hander, turn 13. Turn 14, Greg, you want to get the best drive you can out of there on your way back to the finish line.
Absolutely outstanding. And how about this guy, James Rispoli? He was the early championship leader in this championship. He's trying to regain it today. Can he get it done?
Oh, this one should be fun. Short at 5 laps, but long 4-mile laps. It is going to be a battle royale, and it is a 2-mile manufacturer, if you will, battle at that, and it's going to be really cool. And this track, you can hear Jason talking about this pavement, brand new pave after a lot of years with the same pavement here, paved in the off season. And a lot of questions coming in here, Roger. There's no question this pavement now is coming good. It is really quick, and I think that's going to promote a really good race here.
It seems like it gets better as the weekend goes on.
Yeah.
You know, every race and every qualifier just seems like there's a new track record, and I think it's just going to continue to get better as they get more rubber down.
It's called Track Evolution, and it is evolving fast. Doesn't get a whole lot better than this, folks. Harley versus Indian at Road America coming up.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Geico. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be. And by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson and custom V-twin motorcycles.
Let's take a look at the starting grid for Mission King of the Baggers. It's Bobby Fong at a 120, 220.817. Jay, who's on the pole.
Yeah, then we got Hayden Gilliam and O'Hara, Rispoli, Kyle Wyman, and McWilliams out there on row 2. Then we got Travis Wyman, Owen Sorg, Corey West, Flinders, Jake Lewis, and Frankie Garcia. A little further back, got Danny Eslick, Cole King, Patricia Fernandez, and Robert Johnson back there on row 6. Here's a good look at Kyle Wyman, qualified on row 2, Greg. Probably not exactly where he wanted to be. Had a couple issues in qualifying yesterday. So we'll see if the 33 can make his way to the front. I think it's going to be a pretty close race. Everybody seems really close in these first 2 rows. Even Travis Wyman obviously will be there in starting 7th. So you can see 5, 6 riders battling it out in the draft.
Mission King of the Baggers, we're underway. 5 laps scheduled in this one. And down into turn 1 we go, and it looks like it's going to be the number 1 plate who's going to lead us through it. Tyler O'Hara trying to get a win for Indian Motorcycles in Harley-Davidson's backyard.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen the nimbleness of the 33. We've seen Kyle be able to really put that bike anywhere as he goes up underneath Bobby Fong. Looks like Rispoli was taking a shot there too. Rispoli goes through. So I didn't think James got the best launch, but somehow he finds himself behind the factory Harley-Davidson of Kyle Wyman as they head down the back straight. Rispoli on that Vance and Hines Harley. He's got Bobby Fong down to the outside of him, and Rispoli's going to probably have a little bit more of the preferred line. But up front, Tyler O'Hara does a good job. He's got his teammate right behind him. We've seen the Indians have been pretty fast this year, but the nimbleness of the Harley has really helped Kyle at Atlanta down through those S's.
A brand new surface here at Road America, 5 years in the making. 1 month from the time that they dug the first hole to when they finished it, and it cured over the winter months. And up until this moment, Jay, there's been sun shining on the racetrack. It's out, but there's some cloud cover right now.
Little bit of cloud cover above us. Yeah, it's been in the mid 80s today as Kyle Wyman has now slotted himself through into 2nd place on that 33. O'Hara, I think, is going to be pretty hungry to win this race. He's been pretty quiet this year. As you see now, Rispoli tries to stuff it up underneath McWilliams,
wow.
So he makes that pass stick. Again, as Rispoli gets it a little bit loose on the exit. Just behind him, Bobby Fong, our pole sitter, sitting 5th. Hayden Gillum back there as well. And then you see just further off the back in 7th, Travis Wyman. But Kyle Wyman has done a really nice job of running down the number 1 of Tyler O'Hara as they go down into Canada Corner. You're going to see Kyle get out of shape, and you see Rispoli making a beeline for the apex of that turn there in the chicane.
So Rispoli on that Vance and Hines Mission Harley-Davidson road glide. But up front, we have the number 1 Tyler O'Hara in the Indian Motorcycles Progressive Mission Foods Indian Challenger. Right behind him, the factory bike on the Harley-Davidson Screamin' Eagle road glide is Kyle Wyman, showing up this year with this unbelievable livery and trying to get it done in front of the home crowd. Mission King of the Baggers onto the front straightaway they go. Kyle Wyman, a 2:24 lap time.
And it looks like, McWilliams has got back past Rispoli too on the run to the up that front straightaway. So McWilliams slots himself back into 3rd, but it's really the 2 guys that have dominated this class over the last couple of years. Tyler O'Hara winning the championship the first year we had it. Kyle Wyman coming back with Harley, winning it the 2nd. Then O'Hara returned that favor again last year. That's why he's got that big number 1 plate on there. And Kyle Wyman is doing everything he can this year to take it away. I think Kyle's plan here, he wants to get down into turn 5 and try to lead himself through these S's that we have here. But man, O'Hara's strong on the brakes for Kyle not to be able to go by him there. But I think that's what every rider wants to do. Lead through turn 5, 1 lap, see what happens as he looks up the inside going into turn 6. Can't make that happen either. McWilliams, Rispoli, and Fong just a little bit further back.
Yeah, another Indian, Harley-Davidson Indian battle for the final spot on the podium as Kyle gets a good drive, does the 33. Looked like he had to take evasive action for a moment, but Tyler O'Hara, that Indian, is looking so stable under braking.
It's great that you just said that. I was thinking the same thing. We're used to seeing that bike back in and do some things. We've seen that bike back in a lot on Tyler O'Hara. As you see, Rispoli did make his way through on McWilliams. But O'Hara's bike looks quite a bit stronger under braking than we've seen it in the past. Look at it. See how straight line that thing is? And there's been 2 times where I've seen Kyle go up the inside of him down into turn 5 and in turn 8, both with runs. And O'Hara's done a nice job of being able to thwart that battle there and make Wyman think of doing something else. Now we'll see if it's the same thing as they take the run down here in towards Canada Corner.
And talking with Tyler O'Hara this weekend, I asked him about the things that he's been doing away from the racetrack, Jay, and he really said, he on top of the fitness stuff that he's been doing, including yoga, he's been watching a lot of film, and he's been talking to a lot of riders like Josh Hayes about racing and watching and learning and trying to figure out what he can take from other parts of, from Superbike, from Supersport, from a variety of classes and bring them to this class.
Yeah, no, Tyler's always trying to improve. I've had some great discussions with him as well. It's funny when you're as good a rider as Tyler O'Hara is and you're still willing to learn like he is. It says a lot about the person, and O'Hara's very dedicated to that. He didn't get the best run out of that last corner, and I saw Kyle did get a pretty good run. But maybe Kyle's going to try to plan that pass again down into 5 if he can. I feel like sometimes, Greg, when you go by a guy early, it would then give O'Hara a chance to give the same pass back down out of this corner. So Wyman's going to do everything he can to get in the draft, pull to the left, try to get by O'Hara, make a committed pass down there when they get into that turn 5 area. And 2:21.4 fast lap of the race for Wyman.
Great shots from our Lucas Oil helicopter as we head down to Hannah. Hannah?
The talk of the weekend has certainly been the new surface, and Dunlop had a tire test here earlier this month. Both Tyler O'Hara and Kyle Wyman and their teams came to the test, and while the weather was quite a bit different than it is here this weekend, they were able to gather some valuable data. I checked in with our friends at Dunlop just to kind of see how things were going, and they said the tire wear has been quite the same on both our Superbikes and our baggers, but in half the number of laps. So that means that these 620-pound bikes are really wearing out those tires. They gave me the example of someone like Travis Wyman, who was running that R7 rear on both his stock 1000 machine and his bagger. So it's just a matter of how it will come down to these last few laps at the end of the race, and I'm sure Dunlop will be checking on those tires again, but they have been pretty impressed with how well they're holding up.
Great information, really.
Yeah, that's really good, and it kind of shows you where this class has gone, though, and how much it continues to progress. And as you can see, Rispoli doing everything he can. I thought I saw in the background too, I have to double check it, but it looked like Bobby Fong may have ran off the track in turn 5. I couldn't tell for sure. It looks like it's Rispoli, McWilliams, and Hayden Gillum, and I don't see Bobby Fong. So that looks like maybe Bobby had a problem down in turn 5 and was turning his bike around to get going again. The other thing too, Greg, is with this class, the way it's been ran, talking to Kyle a little bit earlier, getting the points lead that he's got now, he realized coming into this race, even though the pressure to win in front of Harley is immense, at the end of the day, it's really about the big fight. And there you go. There's Bobby Fong turning his bike around, getting back on track down in turn 5. So frustration for the pole sitter, but Kyle's going to do everything he can to try to win this race. And I'm going to try to throw it to you and say, what are you seeing as far as where Kyle's going to be able to make this pass?
Well, that's really part that I'm looking at the most. I mean, he's right there. He reeled him in. And it's, well, I was going to say it was the stability of the Indian under braking.
It's so much better now, huh?
It's so much better. That particular moment, you could see that there was a little bit more force in it. And it's something that Tyler O'Hara said that they were working on a lot, is the stability under braking. And, the thing about it is, Jay, is that if this was the old surface, you would have to plan a little bit more.
Right.
Now, with the way that the surface is, we have seen races that we've seen passes in every way you can pass. Meaning we've seen it passing under braking as we normally do. We've seen passing on drafting. We've seen acceleration passes, and we have seen full lean angle passes in the carousel where people have gone right underneath another rider. So anything is possible here with this billiard table smooth surface that's been created here at Road America. So, but Jay, I'm not sure that I see a weakness right now in Tyler O'Hara. What do you see?
I'm the same. When I watch him come off of some of the slower corners, the Indian seems like it just has that little tiny bit of acceleration. When they get up to 5th and 6th, you can see Kyle kind of drawn back into the draft at the end of the straight. But then Tyler's very good under the braking. And, like I said before, there's probably a lot of video that we could show from past races where Indian obviously has worked on the chassis, worked on the geometry of this motorcycle to make it not act so abruptly coming into corners like this one here. I mean, look how straight up and down that bike is. There's no backing in. Look at Rispoli behind them. He's got the thing pitched in there pretty sideways. So, the thing is, again, James is riding really hard right now, trying to catch back up to these two. And I'm looking up on my screen right now. Yeah, he's lost some time in that first sector. But see, Kyle doesn't really have anywhere to go. So I'm trying to figure out where that's going to happen.
But on the other hand, okay, Kyle has raced with Tyler O'Hara before.
Yep.
This Indian versus Harley Davidson battle has been fought before. And if Kyle doesn't think he's got the pace to pass and check out, is this a bad place to be for Kyle Wyman right now?
Well, right now you can see O'Hara's going through. We had an incident in a previous race where there was a lot of dry sweep put down, and these guys are the first race after that. O'Hara's kind of going tight and running into it and running right over it straight up and down as we're going to get to the white flag this time by. And Kyle goes outside of it and gets a little bit of a run, but he's not really able to do anything with that run once he gets there.
159 miles per hour for Kyle Wyman last time by our timing and scoring loop that measures that top speed. This is it, the final lap of Mission King of the Baggers, race number 1 here at Road America.
I feel like it's going to happen in turn 8. I think I've seen Kyle run through the middle of turn 7. It was an area that he's been working on. I don't know if he's going to be close enough to him when he gets down to turn 5. I think with O'Hara's racecraft, he's going to stay on the left-hand side of the track all the way down. Another good shot from our Lucas Oil camera from up above, and you can see O'Hara does a nice job of defending it. It wasn't even a thought for Kyle to think about going down the inside. But he gets a good run through 7, and we've seen him try that a couple times going into turn 8. And so right now they're headed up the hill, up underneath the bridge, turn 6. And it'll be out of this next turn 7. Kyle's been able to show that he's got a little pace through the middle of this corner, and maybe he can drop alongside of him. Let's see what happens here.
Here comes the 33. He is up alongside of him. Now it's a braking duel. Tyler O'Hara gets it sideways, but he's going to go wide. Does Kyle Wyman have the drive? Into the carousel they go. And Jason, just like you predicted, it's exactly how it unfolded.
O'Hara knew it was coming. He knew that Kyle was going to do that, and he stayed on the left-hand side, and Kyle was able to go through. Did you see him put his knee in the dirt?
Yeah.
That actually spooked Tyler as well. So Kyle does exactly kind of what I felt what he was building up to. Now he's got to do a clean run through all this. He's got to be absolutely perfect through all this in order to not let that Indian draft back by him to the finish.
Tyler O'Hara added his way on his Indian motorcycle the entire race. But Harley Davidson just down the street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Kyle Wyman with the weight of the company on his shoulders, and that orange and black livery has done everything right. He has a quick look over his shoulder to see the gap. Is he expecting to be drafted and passed? Kyle Wyman has it right now, Jason. He is looking good. Here we go into the final corner. Tyler O'Hara trying to close the gap. The drive onto the front straightaway. Behind the bubble, the 33 of Kyle Wyman on his Harley Davidson Screaming Eagle comes over the crest of the hill, and he will take his Harley Davidson Road Glide to another victory here in Mission King of the Baggers and extend his points lead. How about that?
Yeah, that's some good racecraft there. It almost looked like he was being as patient as he could be, and I don't think he had the pace down the back straightaway to actually do something with Tyler. And you can see O'Hara and Rispoli get together.
And he deserves that celebration. That was incredible, and this was the move, Jay.
Yeah, you can see O'Hara knew the pass was coming, and it forced him to take a tighter line on the entry. And Kyle was able to square him up, get by him before the carousel. And then, look, O'Hara knew it was going to come from that side. Kyle kind of surprised him. O'Hara waited. Here's where we see that the Indian getting a little bit backed in, but he's backed in because he's got the brake lever on so hard. He's a little tighter than he wanted to be. Bike's backed in. He runs a bit wide. Kyle makes that pass. And just for good measure, sticks his knee in the dirt through the middle of the carousel.
Rispoli able to hold on for third. Jeremy McWilliams, Hayden Gillum, your top 5, with Travis Wyman in 6th. Here's the race pace, Jay, at 122.441 on lap 2 for Kyle Wyman, and he was able to hang right there and really put it down when he needed to get it down. What a great race for Kyle. And here are the fans as the 33 will enjoy the victories, the spoils of his victory. And Jay, we know there are thousands of people, especially Harley Davidson fans, that have come out to Road America.
Get a little workout after a workout.
More from Road America in a moment.
Wow, that is a post-race celebration worthy of Harley country, wasn't it? Just jumping off the bike and doing a long run of hand slaps. What a ride. I mean, that was about as perfectly judged a ride as you could imagine. And, you know, that Indian looked to have the straight line pace. It was going to have to come somewhere else for Kyle Wyman, excuse me. And, man, he drove it. It's just incredible.
I mean, just played it perfectly. I think he knew that the Indian had a little more top speed, and his best choice was if he wasn't leading out of, turn 8, it was going to be really tough for him. And, Tyler knew that as well, I believe, and that's why he kind of outbroke himself. But when Kyle got in the lead, you know, from turn 8 to the start-finish line was perfect. I mean, he put the best lap possible those last 2 sectors and pulled a nice little gap and held on for the win.
And to me, the telltale that Kyle was, once he got in front, he was not going to be denied, was that run through the carousel when that elbow threw, or that knee threw up a little bit of dirt. He was just flat chat through there, and then just got it stopped, rotated, and shot through that chicane. It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, and through that carousel, just how much speed he carried through there with the bagger, and even when he got his knee out in the grass, it just still kept going, and you could just see how much he was just pulling away through there and got through the chicane perfectly. Man, it's amazing how fast they can change directions on those Harleys.
Yeah,
the baggers. And got through there really quick and got a good run out of there down into Canada Corner.
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it? Just the way that they've got those big bikes to handle like that. And think about it, folks. Top 5, Harley, Indian. That is about as even and great a mix as you can imagine. So, all right, we're going to head back over to G-Dub and Jason Pridmore for more about the baggers.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Geico. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be. And by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson and custom V-twin motorcycles.
Welcome back to Road America here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Kyle Wyman, 4 on the trot, as the Brits would say. 4 in a row for him. He does this one by half a second over Tyler O'Hara and James Rispoli, just a couple of tenths ahead of Jeremy McWilliams. Boy, this battle between Harley-Davidson and Indian motorcycles is just phenomenal. It's at its peak, Jason, and we're absolutely loving it.
Yeah, we are, and there's like a big battle there, as you know, and good to see McWilliams only 2.4 seconds back, where Spoli holds on to get Vance and Hines up on the podium and continue his title chase as well.
It was a wild ride for James Rispoli, and he is with Hannah right now.
Third place today goes to James Rispoli. James, you've been making significant progress every time you get more laps. Take us through that race for you.
Yeah, it was mayhem for me. I didn't really get the start we needed. I had to slice and dice with some guys and make some late lunges that, helped me get on the podium. But we had the pace. I was closing in on those last couple laps, but it was super greasy out there. Coming out over, I don't know what the corner is, the last lap, I started folding the front on the gas, and I was like, buddy, don't do that. You don't want to be tucking there. So I'm happy to bring the Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson in third place. Yeah, I saw these guys goofing around, and I thought maybe, man, I might be able to pick up the pieces, but at the end of the day, to do it with Willie here and all the Harley guys and to put it on the podium, and we got another chance tomorrow. I'm stoked, and for Kyle to win, that was really, really good. So let's hopefully go for race 2.
Congratulations to James Rispoli, your third place finisher today. I want to check in with second place Tyler O'Hara. Led quite a few laps out there. Kyle was keeping you honest throughout. Take us through that race for you. When were you anticipating that he was going to try and make a move?
Well, from the start, it was really tricky with all that oil down, the first couple laps. It was pretty slick kind of everywhere. In turn 1, it seemed to be really slick, and the tire went off really early and on entry, and it just started coming around on me, and I was doing everything I could, riding as hard as I could, and he kept me honest the whole race, and just kind of came into 5 a little bit hot there. It's kind of back end come around a little bit, and I kind of lost my momentum up the hill, and then made a run on me through 7 there. But hats off to my whole team, Indian Motorcycle, SNS Cycles. This is the home race, so thanks for everyone, all the employees for coming out. Really appreciate it. Mission Foods, Medallia, Parts Unlimited, Drag Specialties, everybody, all these fans that rode American motorcycles out here today. We appreciate every one of you for coming out, and just my whole team. We're continuing to learn. We're getting better, and it's nothing like a good rivalry, and tomorrow's a new opportunity. I'm excited that I get another chance to fight for the win.
Congratulations, Tyler O'Hara, ever onward. Now this guy, our race winner, has been having not quite the weekend that he had expected. Kyle, you sat on Tyler for quite a few laps there. Were you anticipating making a move, or did you think you had him? Take us through your thought process.
Yeah, I really did. I was surprised nobody came with us. We had a little bit of a gap. I kind of kept checking over my shoulder because I didn't know really the pace. I was so locked in on Tyler, I wasn't really looking at the lap time. So I had a lot of opportunities in that race to go by, but I waited till the perfect moment, and I'm just so happy for Harley Davidson and the whole team. They worked so hard. We were on our back foot yesterday, but really came through, and we also have Willie G on site today, and I want to dedicate this win to him. So thank you, Willie. Thank you, Harley.
You can hear how excited those fans are for Kyle Wyman, today's race winner.
Oh, yeah. This is the perfect place to do it in front of a huge crowd, and it was a great victory for him. Here's a look at the point standings. 100 points for Kyle Wyman, 83 for Rispoli, if you're not a new fan. I don't know why. Tyler O'Hara right in the mix as well. This championship is strong.
No, it is, and it can literally go down to the wire, and all of our main finishers, all of our main title guys finished today, which is a good thing. Sometimes we see attrition in this class, and these bikes are getting more and more, they're getting better every time we go out, more reliable every time we go out, so that's a good sign as well. And they're going to have to work hard, though, to beat 33. Kyle Wyman right now is on a big roll.
More from Elkhart Lake in a moment.
Well, some interesting comments as the podium celebrations continue here. The one from Rispoli and also from Tyler O'Hara kind of catching my ear here, Roger. This is the first time we've heard anybody after one of the races talk about that it was getting really greasy and slick out there. Do you think it's just the heat on this track, or do you think it's the weight of these bikes and the toil that takes on the tires?
I think maybe the heat. You know, it's been sunny all day from this morning, so
Yep.
track temperatures are probably pretty high right now, so it's probably greasy, and then also the weight and the bike and all that stuff. But you know, when the track's really hot like this and the new pavement is just so, you know, so dark right now, you can just feel the heat beating off of it. And I'd say that's got a lot to do with it. And you know, with Kyle, he has some experience with it, I think, doing superbike races. You know, when the tires kind of go off toward the end, they're long. But you know, he played his cards perfect there in that race. And you know, we were mentioned about James Rispoli too. I was watching the lap times there with like 3 to 4 to go, and I was like, man, he's doing the same times as the leaders, but just couldn't bridge the gap.
Yeah, exactly. They just got out like Kyle had said. He was surprised nobody else went with him, and by the time Rispoli found he could turn those times, just wasn't able to close up at all. But man, what a duel Kyle Wyman and Tyler O'Hara put on. Harley versus Indian, and for the first race anyway, it's Harley who gets the win. And let's get back over to Greg and Jason.
Back at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, Mission King of the Baggers, race number 1, done and dusted. And Harley Davidson add in for them. But the good news is that tomorrow we get another go at it, and I guarantee you that Tyler O'Hara and his Indian Motorcycle Factory crew are going to be after it. And I'll tell you something, Sunday at 5 o'clock is going to be one to watch. Beautiful new surface here and a beautiful day for racing and a near record crowd. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
Gear up to get fueled by Mission and get ready to eat like a king. Load those saddlebags with tasty products and fuel your flavor. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth